Kia ora Waikato Pens and anyone else that might be listening. My name's Kylie Thompson from the University of Waikato, and I've just put this presentation together, a really quick presentation on Scholarship 2020 with a focus on physical education, and really that was just after popping in and out of some schools down here in the Waikato. It's been a tough year, and a few of you have let me know that some of your students have not yet selected topics for scholarship, or you're needing a little bit of support in taking those next steps and how you might support them with their reports. So I'm aiming to keep this under 15 minutes, and I've just put together a few ideas and drawn on a whole lot of work that Jenny Robertson has already created for you and put up under the NZHEA page. So make sure you refer to that. I've got the links in this presentation as well. Okay, so to start with, let's just have a quick chat about the change and what it is. Hopefully most of you know what that is by now, but we can go over that really quickly, look at the resources, and then I'm going to go through, spend most of the time going through some of the topics that I thought came out of the 3 documents that relate to to physical education. Jenny has done a good breaking down of the Child and Youth Wellbeing Strategy in relation to health education. Okay, so what has changed in 2020? Well, obviously the big change is that now there are 4 documents that students need to select one from and use that document as a platform for analysis and critical thinking of broad and relevant themes relating to the subject. So the 4 reports, links are here on these slides, and obviously on the spec page for the NZQA PE Health and PE Scholarship. The 3 bullet points at the bottom are the ones that I was going to talk to over the next few minutes, and they relate more to the physical activity, sport, physical education kind of emphasis. Another note, just in case you haven't picked up on it, that there has been an extension in the date, so it's now Thursday the 12th of November. Okay, so when you're supporting students to select a topic, if they haven't already, I would highly recommend looking not just at page 44 to 47, which I've got on the slide, but the whole NZHEA scholarship resource, which if you haven't come across this already, just as soon as you finish listening to this, shut this down and go and have a look, because it's amazing. So if you go to the NZHEA page, you will see it there under a resource to support students preparing a report for Health PE Scholarship. This is what it looks like when you open it. Anyone can download it, it's free. And if you look at the contents page, you'll see that Jenny's put a whole lot of work together there in supporting teachers to support students with scholarship. Health education is the focus, so if you're looking at physical education, then I think the process side of things is still very similar. However, there will be some content knowledge and theoretical knowledge that will be specific to PE that you'll need to have in front of mind. There's a whole chapter there on topic selection, and within that chapter is a suggested process that you can work through with your students, and how they can actually use those documents as a platform for writing a critical evaluation on a specific topic. So I think that's a really fantastic resource for us to have, and there's no point reinventing the wheel in the PE context, except that I have tried to put together some ideas relating to those 3 topics, like I said earlier. Okay, so going back to that presentation, I've put together a collaborative Google Doc, and you can access it through this link, which we'll also put on the Waikato Pens Facebook page. We'll come back to this document, but this is what it looks like. There's a table there that basically outlines some broad topics that might emerge from each of those 3 documents that students can choose from. Okay, so in quickly returning to the documents, I think it's really important that the students, and maybe you're working with them, to review, the key ideas that pop out of those plans and documents. I've put some really simple bullet points together on each of them that maybe provide, if there was a vision that was clear or any key focus that was relevant. You can see the talent plan had these 5 key focus areas which were unpacked in the document, and Sport New Zealand's integrity framework also had these 6 key focus areas which are unpacked in the document. So have a review of all of them first and get a sense of them. The NZHEA resource also, talks through, like I said before, a process and how you might first make sense of those documents before you actually even pick a topic. Okay, so in looking at a PE focus and returning to that Google Doc where I've tried to brainstorm a few ideas from topics, if we start with Sport New Zealand's strategic direction, everybody active plan, what I've done here is in red, in italics underneath, is the link to how that topic relates to the actual document. And so there's a section in this document called the participation landscape that looks at why people participate and what the challenges are on participation. And so broad topics that students might like to look at that come out of that one are some of the national and global challenges impacting on physical activity participation, remember, and relating to New Zealand. And so, in terms of unpacking that further, I thought, particular questions around how urban design has impacted people's access to and experiences of physical activity, broader societal disruptions such as technology and the impact that that's had on participation. Then moving into, there's some points there that relate to the investment focus in this plan, and one is in programs, and you'll note when you look at the plan, enhancing the quality of physical education is a key focus in this plan. So another topic that may come out is the place and potential of physical education. So students could actually design a report that critically evaluates learning in PE, and then also looks at some of the programs that Sport New Zealand is suggesting through this plan, such as the Healthy Active Learning program. There's a whole lot of other stuff here that I've unpacked. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can obviously take your time to explore those. The value of play was really clear in this report, and so there's all sorts of questions there about the benefits of play, shifting values, cotton wool kids and the impact that might have had on play, and there are other resources that are referred to in that document that's linked to play too. The next document was Sport New Zealand's talent plan, and again in red are the sections that specifically relate to the document. And the way I've organised these topics is, first of all, I thought there were broad topics around defining and identifying talent in sport, that students may want to look at that as a slant on their report. And so, there's a whole lot of taken for granted assumptions and bias that may exist when it comes to defining and identifying sporting talent. There's questions around why we value it, what is the relationship between character and talent, and you've got those sociological themes that will sit nicely under a talent focus as well that could be looked at. So in terms of how these topics might come out of the report, there are sections there on what is talent development, so the document actually defines it. It gives roles and responsibilities of people involved, and then there are core beliefs in this plan, so things like working together for collective impact and effective pathways and so on, and those topics relate really nicely to those areas within the plan, I thought. Then there's responsibility and care of athlete well-being. I think that would be a really interesting topic too. If anyone's been watching Netflix and Athlete A, I think this is exactly where this topic could be heading. looking at relating a socio-ecological perspective to athlete well-being, thinking critically about things like early specialisation and burnout and how this document addresses those things, the parent problem, the sideline problem. So, again, coming back to the document, there's a core belief that athletes' needs come first. So a critical evaluation maybe of how this report actually enables that and supports that would be interesting. Developing talent, a whole lot of topics that could come out of the report here when it refers to developing talent. The document refers to strong leadership and effective talent development pathways and coaches, but all sorts of questions there, in terms of even students may want to review sports academies, whether they're appropriate or effective. Talent programs accessible to all or just a select few? What's the impact of investment? A whole lot of assumed links between genetics, childhood success and adult success and so on. So I think I've just tried to put a whole lot of questions that might guide students in selecting a topic that links to that area too. Moving on to Sport New Zealand's integrity framework, it's probably worth saying that that's only a couple of pages and your students may want to click on that link for a full version of the review. I think there's a whole lot of other really good detailed information there. In terms of broad topics, I thought, topics around is sport actually good for us and society, relates to that purpose and a number of core aspects within this report that you will see. So, could students look at a cost-benefit analysis of sport, linking to holistic well-being, exploring the big questions, what is sport integrity and actually is fairness ever possible in sport when you're thinking about equity versus equality and so on. Then there are some more specific core aspects that are focused on in this report, such as match fixing and corruption. So I've got a few questions there that might come, from looking at that broader topic and linked back to that aspect of the report. Doping, I know that's been a really common topic in the past, but making sure that you use the document as a platform to explore it is really important. And then player welfare, again, in this integrity report, there's a whole lot of questions there that I thought came out of the report that could be focused on too. Supporting diversity and inequality in sport, again, you could take that to a whole lot of places. How is sport experienced by gender diverse and or non-binary people? What is the connection between masculine hegemony and gender inequity in New Zealand sport? So it's just an example of the types of questions that might come out of these broader topics that have been platformed by the report. So there's a whole focus area in this report on supporting diversity. So how does what's in this report help to answer some of these questions? I shared this document with Jenny and told her how wonderful I thought the work that she'd done for NZHEA was, and she mentioned that she had actually had a go at putting together some ideas for a couple of the other more kind of physical activity sport related reports. So she sent those through to me and I've copied and pasted them at the bottom of this page as well. And we're both really keen that people add their own ideas for topics. It would be great to see what you're thinking. And as Jenny said, don't be limited by these ideas. They're just prompts to get you thinking about possibilities. So just add what you like, take what you're what you're interested in, and leave what you're not interested in. I really like the way that Jenny has put this this table together, in that she's made really specific links to the document. So you'll see above, I've just really brainstormed broad topics that might come from those documents, whereas in the second section of this Google Doc you'll see the parts that Jenny's done. She's made really explicit reference and taken parts of the report and provided lots of questions for students to be thinking about that might lead them to a really good topic. So there's a whole heap here. Thank you so much, Jenny. You've done a huge amount of work there, and I think teachers will gain a huge amount from that. I'm going to cut out in 8 seconds, but use the Facebook page if you want to connect on anything else. Okay.